to another Tuesday and another live stream by Product People. Um, Before we start, here's a QR code for you to go and ask any questions and answer any polls. We will be beginning shortly and introducing our guest speaker for today. We host our questions and polls on Slido. You can either scan the QR code or go to slido.com and use the code that is mentioned here to participate in the polls and in the questions. Today, we will be talking about guiding the product managers to be the first product manager in a startup with our guest, Giuseppe. And Giuseppe has been the first product guy forever. He has 15 years of experience across startups, bootstrap companies, and today he will be sharing his knowledge around how and what you can do, how can you create the most impact at a new company or startup by being the product manager there. A little bit about me before we begin. I am Ubi. I've been with Product People for almost 2 years, in product management for over 5 years. I've been, since we are quite product agnostic, I've been working with B2B and B2C and C2C companies in the past 4 years, namely Vester Collective or 3E in the renewable energy or in health tech or in wellness tech, etc., etc. If you would like to know more, you can always reach out to us via LinkedIn. Our DMs are open. What we do, a little bit of introduction about Product People. We are the premium product management consultancy in Europe. We provide interim product management, product ops and transformation acceleration services via our in-house staff. We have 40 plus world-class product managers, and I am not saying that not seriously. We are very picky about the people that work with us. We also have a community of 60,000 plus product managers on our socials. And today, before we start, we want to get to know you a little bit and break the ice. And for that, we have a question for you. And that is, in your view, what is the hardest part of being the first product manager at a startup? You can scan the QR code to answer this question. I will be pausing here for a few minutes to let you answer these questions. The options are A, convincing yourself that the company is right bet before joining. B, working with founders who have never worked with a PM before. C, building product processes and rituals from scratch. And D, not having any data, users, or precedent to lean on. We have started to get some of the answers I'm seeing. Some people are opting for the first option, which is to convince themselves that this company is the right bet, as the hardest part of being the first PM at a startup. We'll give it a few more minutes and see if the answers changes, and then we'll proceed forward with the talk today. All right, it looks like that option A is the winner, and most people think that the making the right choice or the dilemma of making the right choice is the biggest hurdle in being the first PM at a startup. I will now hand it over to Giuseppe. Giuseppe, take it away.
Thanks a lot, Ubi. Thanks for hosting me. Thanks for people, and nice to meet you all. So this is going to be a very practical session. It will be a guide as first product manager in a startup. And I will help you to understand how to find the right startup. So actually reply the question that you have like the biggest doubts about, and then help founders to build their first product. So first, a little bit about myself. I am Giuseppe. I have 15 years of experience as product manager. Specifically, I'm an early stage expert. I worked for 15 years, always in early stage. I was always the first product guy in the team. Failed a lot of times. I failed 5 times, survived 4 times with okay success. And then I had a big success, which was Upvest, which is an investment API. You have to imagine basically like Stripe, but for investment. I was founding CPO, first employees, and now the company raised over 300 millions. They have clients like Revolut, N26, DKB, and really big clients. Beside that, I've worked in all the roles in early stage. I've been a CPO, pro lead, senior, and junior PM, and also a fractional PM. So I've also been a freelancer. I also work on the VC side, specifically entrepreneurs first, which is basically, it's called a talent investor. It's a really cool concept. Basically, it's an acceleration program where you take founders from, they have still not an idea and they don't have a co-founder yet. And 25 business people, 25 technical people. And then, they have to get to know each other, found an idea together and test it. And I was coaching them to find product market fit. Beside that, I'm currently founder of the Next Table, which is an AI screening tool that makes it easy to spot exceptional talents. And this is a bootstrapped company. So that's a little bit about myself, but let's jump into practice. So what do we talk about today? 3 topics. Number 1, how to find the right startup. Number 2, how to help the founders to build their first product once you're a startup. Number 3, how to develop a 0 to 1 mindset and survive, into this chaos at its early stage. Small disclaimer, take me with a pinch of salt. These frameworks, the frameworks I will share are based on my experience, but they're not the absolute truth. It's just what I've observed over the years. So feel free to, make what you want out of that. Let's start with topic number 1, how to find the right startup. So, and to reply to this question, we have to take a step back to really understand the startup game. So in general, there are really 3 good reasons to join an early stage startup as a PM. The first is it's genuinely fun to build from 0 to 1. There is no politics or very little politics because, you are 3, 4, 5, 10 people in a room. So it's very authentic. You're also the underdog and you will work with exceptional founders, very close to them. There is like a crazy amount of energy and, you work really, really, really great people. Also, it's the fastest growth you will ever experience because essentially what you become, it's an incredible individual contributor because you will touch all the functions, from growth, sales, HR. And this is great for the AI era because right now, a lot of everyone is looking for generalists that can do a lot of things. And, this is a great way to do it. And also it's an amazing path both to grow as a leader, but also as a founder because, you can grow with a company or, if you're successful, investors will look for you. It will be a lot easier to found. The third thing, which is often underestimated, is you can create life-changing long-term wealth. You have, let's say, a 10% chance to see something good by 1% chance to see something incredible. So, also another important things. This is not for everyone. Obviously, there are also, fun enough, there are also very good reasons not to join an early-stage startup, and it's exactly the opposite. It's genuinely chaotic to build from 0 to 1. It's fastest grow, but also fastest failure you will ever experience. And also you have a lot of chances, like a 90% chance to don't see much. And these years you will have a low salary. So just, it's exactly what is good. It's exactly what is bad. So it's not for everyone for sure. Now, if you want to really succeed as an early stage product manager in this game, there is only one way, in my experience. And this way is you have to think like a VC. This is counterintuitive. It took me a few years to get it, but I think if you think like a VC, you really can succeed. If you don't, you don't. So let's deep dive a little bit into this concept and see what it means. A lot of people think VCs are crazy. I don't know if you heard the whole, 996 movement. There is a Harry Stebbing say, oh, you should work 6 days a week. And a lot of, not PMs, but a lot of people in the startup world are like, why not building a profitable, healthy business, right? And the thing is, because it's in the nature of things, because investing in innovation is brutally Darwinian, right? Most new ideas are bad. If you think about it, there is no PM ever that said, amazing, finally, another AI product management tool, right? Because most of them are bad, so you don't want them. And this happens for any idea in any field. But this is where it gets interesting. Most investments will fail, but one investment will cover everything 3 to 6 times. That's like in the nature of the Darwinian brutal way of VCs, right? So if you think about it, this is how a portfolio VC could look like. You have one huge success, some okay, something, and then nothing for many, right? And some examples here is like, we have Peter Thiel, that, for example, put 500K in Facebook, go to 1.1 billion with a 2,000 multiple, a 5,000 stake in Uber got to like 25 millions, and also Creandum that just with Spotify got 13 times the return, right? So, and this is very important because this explains how exactly the game works. So if you think about it, it works like this, and this is even more interesting because but why do VCs then, how do the VCs play? The thing is, VCs don't use their money. They take money from LPs, which are limited partners, which are basically, family offices or high net worth individuals or, pension funds, right? And they tell them, hey, give us 100 millions. We will give you in 7 to 10 years, 3 to 6 times the amount. So 300 to 600 millions. To do this, they need to do basically one company that does a 100x return in 7 to 10 years, because this will be the successful that pays for everything. And to do this, the math is very simple. Let's say you invested 1 million at a 10 million evaluation, so you get 10%. Well, then you need a 1 billion exit to have 100x, and that's how you get the famous unicorn thing. And to get to this 100 to 1 billion exit, overall, you need 100 million in revenues, which means you need to have a billion market to serve with a 10% percentage, right? This is from OpenVCs. It's an amazing explanation, but I think this one, if you understand this, you start to understand the whole VC game, which is key to understand early stage product management. Because if you think about it, many of you, I guess, they are product manager in more advanced startups, but essentially what the startup has to do is like to go through all these stages to get to the billion evaluation, right? So you start from a pre-seed, and then seed, series A, series B, and you have always to increase revenues and to show you're making it to this billion evaluation, right? And how does this affect your startup choice as early stage product manager? The thing is, you really want to get into this. This is the best way to spend your precious time, because you will be working like 3, 5, 10 years if in a startup. If you get this, basically you're set. And you will learn super fast in all the other ones, right? This is also often underestimated. You can get, even if the company fails, you will find a lot of jobs in amazing startups. Founders will love you. But, so it's never a problem, actually, if the startups fail. This is also something that you learn. Nothing happens. You just find the better jobs afterwards. But what does it mean if you really get into this 1% opportunity? And in general, of course, incredible learning and growth. You can have infinite job opportunities. Imagine like if you're a founding PM at Lovable or Cursor, it's amazing, Then if you want to become a founder, doors are open. VCs will look for you. And then aspect often underestimated is the financial. So let's say you get 1% when you join a company. Let's say that it gets diluted to 0.5%, and then the company makes a 1 billion exit. That's 5 million euros. You pay taxes, probably around 30% on it. Then you invest them in ETFs, and here we go. You have 180K per year. You have won the lottery ticket for life. You don't have to work anymore. You have a annual income of 180K. Then this for working in a startup for a few years. Of course, very hard, not very easy to found. But this one, it's like if you think this way, it's a pretty life-changing thing, because with salary, you cannot get to this. And of course, if you're a founder, you even have much higher numbers. Okay, now that we know that the only way to win is to think like a VC, we're ready for the $1 billion questions, which is how to find a startup to join. So, in my experience, only 3 things matter, right? Yourself, the market, and the founders. Let's start with the first one, yourself. So, why start with yourself? Because the truth is, in early stage startup, you will be the right hand of the CEO. You need to be a really strong fit for the role. So you have to have product taste. And how to understand where you're strong. It's basically you have to understand at entrepreneurs first, we call this the edge. So basically, what is your unfair advantage to other PMs? And it can be, usually it's like 3 things. It can be a market edge. So for example, if you have non-obvious knowledge about the market, maybe you work in insurance, tech for 10 years, like now it really well, you can move to an early stage insurance tech company, and you can give a lot of great knowledge and take great product decisions. The second is technical edge, so deep technical knowledge about the topic. As a PM, you don't have it so much, but sometimes also helps because other PMs maybe don't have it. Or you're simply an amazing generalist that can, is brilliant and can jump into anything and help a lot. And usually what is good is like if you start to write down what you're good at, and then you start your research. So this will be the first part. But the second part, and this is very interesting, you have to get into a potentially hot market early on. And why hot and why early? Because if it's already big, it's hard for a new startup to win because you will have to compete with more companies with more money. But if you're into a new innovation or a new market that is underserved, you have more chances to grow a lot. So in the startup game. And it's what is very important. I think it's the old playbook does not work anymore, because essentially, we know software got super cheap to build. So it's very difficult to build defensible AI products unless you have, deep workflows, proprietary data, or like a really strong brand. And so the biggest VCs opportunities right now are not in pure software. On the other side, this is what everyone's talking about, the SaaS apocalypse. And if you see the VCs, they are investing in completely different startups right now. What is interesting, though, there is this new movement, I think from Elena Verna from Lovable. I really like the description. Mom and pop SaaS era has arrived, right? So you can do like much smaller SaaS, and that's also an opportunity. So, but what does it make sense to bet on, right? So, and I think essentially there are three categories of opportunities I see right now. By the way, it's my opinion again. It's not the truth, but this is what I've observed. Number one, this is quite obvious, AI application layer. These are commercially ready opportunities, and these can be agents, coding tools, vertical SaaS. You can do it, essentially from in health tech, in fintech, in logistics. Like you can go in every field of humanity, and there is an AI tool that could be built as long as you have deep workflow integrations with some data motor brand. Second is frontier tech. This is also very interesting. These are nearly commercially ready. So, and here it's like, the idea is like you bet out of software, or like software is just a part of it. And here is like physical AI, robotics, autonomy, right? Very interesting market. And then there is even deep tech. This is like moonshots that are commercially not ready yet, maybe in 5 to 10 years, or like more than 10 years. And here is like space or brain interfaces like fusion, quantum, right? So essentially, you have to understand where you want to be. If you want to join a new startup, I think these are right now the three buckets where you want to look for. And there will be, I think, many unicorns in all three fields. If you ask me in general, this is the easiest for most PM. Just get AI in your industry, early stage startup, promising, it's probably a good direction. This is the craziest one, deep tech. I've seen really crazy concept like sending things in space that are very interesting things. But I think if you have to ask me, this is just my gut feeling, is like the highest ROI is like if you go into frontier tech. So this is like physical AI, robotics, I believe in a lot. And why I think it has the highest potential, I don't know if you know this guy. This is Andreas Klinger. He's like the guy, you've heard about EU Inc., right? The petition to make the 28th regime for European startups. He's the founder of Prototype and Micro VCs. A brilliant guy. I've suggested to follow him on YouTube and LinkedIn. And basically his thesis is robots is the next SaaS. There will be a robot for every industry, and it's it's still very, there is a lot of space. It's not crowded, right? And if you think about it, again, think about, from logistics, then you think about electricians, think about, travel and transportation, hospitals, manufacturing. There is basically a potential for robotics in any of this. And so basically you can build robots in any industry and niche. You can build B2B, you can build B2C, you can even build infrastructure for, the B2B and B2C robots, right? And we will need them, I'm pretty sure, because we have a demographic crisis and we're going through reindustrialization. Europe is very strong. We have an industrial superpower. We have a lot of technical talent, including robotics. And I think it's good because the tech is nearly there, but not really. So components are getting cheaper, small teams can move really fast. So I think there is something very, very interesting into this. And I know it's not banal, but I think it's possible to enter into robotics as a software PM. Essentially, for example, when I became a PM, there was like, you know, I, I didn't have any technical background. I just learned it. Like it's, and I think here is pretty much the same. Right now, there are probably not many robotics product managers, and there will be, I think, a lot of robotics companies like years to come. So it's very interesting to look into these, learn a few more things because you will have physical constraints, right? Yeah, but that's basically, I think, and the new regulation and safety, longer cycles. You will have to learn how to do roadmaps. But I think it's a very interesting field. Also, special mention beyond these bets, you can also build and sell your own product. This is also another one. Is actually what I'm doing right now. Basically, I'm bootstrapping, and essentially what you can do is like you can find a niche that you like. I usually recommend B2B. You can build a great AI pro service. Just make sure it has good margins. You acquire users some way, like network, content, cold emails. As a product manager, we don't know this, but it's a magic. You can get list of, just find, thousands of companies in your target, get the person from LinkedIn, put them into a tool like Clay or Hunter, and then you can get, 1,000 emails. And then, if 10 people reply out of 1,000 emails, you can have 10 sales conversation, and, you can really make money with this. In general, you can keep the team very small, monetize fast. Also, you can do it while you keep your income as a product manager somewhere else. And you don't need to do a huge bet. Here, you can even bootstrap or seed strap. There is, for example, Tiny Seed. This is an accelerator just for companies that raise once and they don't have to raise again. So now next question is like how to find companies into these three buckets, because that's about being a founder. Basically, you would be a founder. You'd have also to found a company, etc. But let's say you want to say product manager and you want to find companies in these three buckets. How do you find them? So the best thing in general, go to the top early stage VCs in the area. Like for example, in Berlin, early stage VCs are Cherry Ventures, Hold Spring Capital, Point Nine. But you can go also to micro VCs. These are often very interesting, like Evor, Merantix, Prototypes, or even top angels, and then look at their latest investments and then get in contact with the founders. Even a message on LinkedIn, or again, use Hunter Clay, you can get their email, right? And usually founders really love initiative and passion. Obviously, warm intros are by far the best. Check your network if you know someone who can make the intro. Join company events, talk to them, and yeah. Also consider sometimes the best opportunity are not published yet. Again, warm intros are the best. Small tricks. This is also a funny one. You can find hidden jobs on Ashby. There is like this snippet you can write on Google's site, jobs, Ashby, HQ, and write product manager. Because basically many companies, so a lot of the top companies actually use Ashby. This is what I discovered. And then they don't always promote it on LinkedIn. So, but if you write this, you can find a lot of jobs as a product manager. Not always early stage, but also early stage, like here, founding product manager, Berlin at Root Global. You can also get opportunities from top communities, funders, networks like operators group from top VCs, talent pools. And if you don't find great opportunities, it's okay. Start with something. Over time, the quality will improve massively. This one I've seen it. So you don't have to have it perfect from day one. So now you know your edge. You found a great market. Now let's talk about founders, right? How to find the right founders. And here there are only two questions that matter. The first is this founder going to build $1 billion business? This one is, this is very, very important. You have to find someone that is really, really motivated, really, really wants to make it, because you want to be into this 1% opportunity, and he has to be super fast learning. And also important, many great opportunities look terrible at first. So this is also why it's interesting. You can find a great founder working on something weird, and still he will be a great founder in the end. And then you have to know that you can work with him very closely in good times and bad times. So, and what do I mean with this is because the truth is you don't own the product. The founder owns the product. This one I can guarantee you. And so you have to basically trust each other, because you have to trust his direction of the company, and he has to trust you on the with a bird, like a bird on top, and they help each other. And they're both weird in the same way. I think it's similar, first product manager and founders. Right. So that's the first part about how to find the startups. Now, let's say you found like this something you like, and let's talk about how to help founders to build their first product. So we know the game is about discovering a great market to serve. But how does, and this is a very important one, how does a great market feels like when you release a new product? Because it's weird, right? Like you release, and am I in a great market, average market, good market? How does it look like? And the truth is that finding a great market can take a long time, sometimes years, right? So you have to start somewhere and start to see some signals, right, that you're moving forward towards a great market. And this is the first crucial product milestone for any startup. So let's see a practical example. This is actually how we did it at Upvest, back in the days. Basically, we just pivoted, and we had to find product market fit, right? So what we did, we wrote all our hypotheses. This is actually the real whiteboard we had back in the days. All the hypotheses of who could we sell to, like companies, protocol custodians, and what we can sell to. And then what we did is we did talks with customers. We talk, I think 5 companies in each group, and then these talks often turn into sales. And here's the interesting thing: some guys were just not interested. Others said, it's nice, just make a demo, come back when you have something, right? And then the third group, and this is the interesting one, this is how we pivoted to API back in the days, was one customer. He sent us follow-up emails. He invited us to the office. He asked us when it was ready and what was the price, right? And this one is the signal of early product market fit. Show up and take my money from Fry of Futurama, right? And that's also how Mark Andreessen, the biggest VC of all times, describes it. Essentially, in a great market, a market with a lot of potential, the market pulls the product out of the startup. The product doesn't have to be great, just it has to work. And the market doesn't care how good the team is, as long as it solves the problem. And on the other side, this is a signal of a not great market. People are like, yeah, I'll let you know, it's good. And this is a very dangerous sign, right? And how Mark Andreessen described it is like, if you are in the terrible market, you can feel it and you're going to fail. And essentially, you will work for years into this, essentially, and in the end, the team will get demoralized and quit, and your startup will die. So I've seen these early signs across industry and types of businesses. And there is always a market pull plus some type of commitment from potential clients when you're early on. Just some example, if you're in B2B, for example, if you send some emails, talk to your network, if you start to have like 2-3 new clients per day, and they are like, they want to pay immediately and they're excited, that's like strong pull. Average pull, like some call, okay, let's see. Maybe it takes a little bit, and no pull, okay, startup is having a hard time to have calls, right? Then B2C examples, again, you have like a lot of traction, like you get like a lot of signups. This is like, looks like shut up and take my money. If you have 1-2 clients from 1,000 euros of ad traffic, it's not looking too good, etc. And even in deep tech, like even if you do some crazy innovation, you can still do this, because you can go and you will have, for example, large client, they agree to run pilot together to test that technology or close letter of intents with, so you really can see when there is a strong pull in any field. You can feel it. And obviously, this type of commitment change greatly based on the industry. B2C, for example, of course, the best is they pay for the product, right? In B2B, is like they pay for the pilot, but you can have, like, for example, a pilot, letter of intent, join the beta, let me know when it's ready, right? Like you have a level of commitments, and also same in deep tech, right? So you want to have some level of commitments. So, and now it's interesting. So having the first strong pull is crucial milestone. And now it's interesting to know what should you do based on the different reaction of your product, right? So let's say you get a strong pull, then you have to double down and invest. If you get no pull, you go back to basics, like, drawing board, which idea should you work on? And if you have enough average pull, you sharpen your offer and target, right? So how does it look like in a journey? Let's see. So that's like the typical journey of a product manager. So like, you have your founder, it tells you, oh, let's develop this idea. Okay, then let's try to sell it. You have an MVP, a landing page. And then what happens is you get one of these 3 feedbacks, you will see. And then essentially, if it doesn't work, bam, you go back to the original one, develop the idea. If it works halfway, you can optimize it a little bit, try the messaging, trying better ads. But essentially what you want to is that it worked great, like you have this great pool, and then you should keep on investing, and then you build and try to sell more so the product becomes better. And this also, it's funny, because once you start to sell it more, you can get again to reaction, either a lot more other interested people or not. And if people are not interested enough, maybe you have like 1, 2, 3 clients, but not like 2,000, then if it doesn't work, you have to go back to basics again. But if your product has a good pool with many customers, congratulations, you're ready to scale. And that's how then you get money from VCs, and that's when you start to hire a lot of PMs in larger startups, right? And I think what happens very often, this is what is a little bit hard to understand if you're working in larger companies, that companies optimize the product, taking for granted the value proposition and the market. But if you're solving an average problem on an average market, and you try to build it and sell it to people, you can optimize as much as you want. You will always get average results. This one, I've always experienced it. It's a rule, 100% guarantees. And it's different in larger stage, because afterwards, you will have a product that works, right? So it changes completely. And it makes sense to optimize. And for example, this is an example, I worked in 2015 in a social network with Bitcoin now payments. And I've run this for, a year, more than a year. And we did 50 product optimization. We did 1 optimization per week. We had some good results, but we never had the strong pull. So it's because the concept was always the same. And this one, I've seen it over and over with a lot of teams. Also entrepreneurs first, you don't optimize things that don't make sense. And essentially, your job as early stage product manager is to do whatever it takes to help the founders to find product market fit. What do I mean with whatever it takes? The founder wants to pivot, you pivot. The founder wants to double down, you double down. The founder wants to test the idea together, test them together. The founder needs to help for recruiting sales or setting up KPIs, do it. And I think this is what's very important to understand is he's taking the risk, and because he's really renouncing his life and he's learning very fast, and you have to support him. So you have to be, and you cannot move faster than him. So you have basically to make him run fast. You can also agree to disagree and follow him. Just explain your points. He will be very happy, especially if your point afterwards was correct. He will gladly, listen to you. And if it takes too many bad choices, just leave. It's a very intense relationship, I have to say, but it can be amazing. And most people are gentlemen. This is my experience with early stage founders. So finding product market fit, it's the absolutely only thing that matters. So helping to move forward with the investment bet for this. Now let's talk about the last topic, which is the 0 to 1 mindset. So the early stage game, it's about chaos. As we can see, because basically the market is not defined yet, maybe it doesn't even exist. There is no product to copy for inspiration, similar features, timelines, you don't know. It's awfully unclear how to get and monetize customers. It's debatable how to measure success. It's unclear whom and how to hire, complete chaos. So the truth is, it's very easy to become distracted, confused, and under a lot of pressures, because basically you have too many directions possible and too little money. And this is a sentence from Elon Musk. This says, being an entrepreneur is like eating glass and staring into the abyss of death. And you could argue that for an early stage product manager, it's pretty much similar, right? Because it's very, very difficult at times. So if it's so difficult, how to deal with it? And I have 3 principles that for me help me a lot. So how to go from chaos to order, because you actually want to get to order from chaos. And I think there are 3 things. Number 1, remember the goals. The first thing is you have to stay ambitious, right? This is very important, because if you want to change the world because you really believe in the product, or you want to make, take 5 million home in the end, this one will help you say, okay, this is a chaos, but point number 2, you can go through the pain. And this is very important as well, because it is painful. I'm not going to hide it. But also, the funny thing is, I've been through also burnouts. It's not fun. The truth is, you can recover. It's okay. It's for a phase. It will be okay. Totally fine. So you have to go through a little bit of pain for sure. The second thing is you have to stay pragmatic. This is very important. Focus, because you have so many opportunities, right? So you have to focus on things that make sense, which is basically solving a problem for money on a great opportunity, which is the basic of a company, right? And whenever you have a doubt, just sell and see, because sales cure it all. Sales prove it. If sales work, everything follow. And the third thing is also very important: stay stable. Don't get too excited about wins, because a lot of times things look, I can tell you, we've some things look incredible. Like you get super excited. You get to talk, to A16Z, like best VCs in the world wants to talk to you, or you want to sell to them, or you have the best startups in the world. Oh my God. And then like nothing happens. A lot of times it's like this. But also you have a lot of losses, and this is very depressing. But you should not get too sad, because the truth is these things rarely last, and there are so many opportunities, new opportunities coming up. So you have to really stay stable, right? So remember the goals, stay pragmatic, stay stable. So it's now time to conclude, right? So what do we talk about today? So it's number one, how to find the right startup, right? So think like a VC, get a 1% opportunity. This is the first one. Look for AI applications or frontier tech or deep tech. Do it via maybe top VCs, HBR communities. Number two, how to help founders to find product market fit. Look for the shut up and take my money. Look for signals of product market fit, and be always on the founder side. And third, how to develop 0.1 mindset. You have to go from order to chaos, focus on goals, stay pragmatic and stable. And finally, enjoy the journey. Not everyone is so lucky to work on the future, so it's like it's difficult, but it's also an honor to work there. And that's it on my side. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Giuseppe. Wow, that was a masterclass, and what a ride in a plethora of knowledge. Like there are so many things that you touched upon, like the entire journey of the first PM. Thank you so much for that, and thank you to everyone who has stayed. We will now be taking questions. You have the QR code in front of you, or you can go to slido.com and use this code to ask us any questions. I will pause here to see if we have any questions. And in the meanwhile, I actually would like to start with a question of my own, because you have been on both sides of the aisle, I would say. You have been the first PM, and now you are also the founder of a company. A lot of this talk was about what these product managers can do, how they can find their next opportunities, how they can find the product market fit when they have found the right founder and when they have found the right company. I want to understand if you can share something about how, on the other side of this aisle, what should the founders do and what should they look into to hire their first PM?
It's a great question. I've also on that side, I was always on the other side because I was the PM hired, right? But I think it boils down a lot to, like, you have to find people that are, you can trust them a lot. Because the truth is, as a founder, you do everything at the beginning. A company, if you think about it, is three things: you have to build, you have to sell, and you have to take care of the organization, right? So, and essentially, over time, you start to give the roles to other people. So you multiply yourself. And now you have to get people that you can trust to do this as good as you, actually even better, right? So that's basically the idea. So you have to find a product manager that does this. It has at least your entrepreneurial spirit, but also can build the product better than you. I think this is and it's not banal. It's a lot of chemistry, right? You have to meet in person. You have to really like each other, and because it's tough. It's like like in a marriage. Like it's basically the same. Like it's when shit hits the fan, you have to have people that stay on your side. Yeah.
And because we talked about the marriage, we also talked about in this entire presentation about what should the PMs look for. I want to ask, what should be the red flags that the PMs should look for in terms of finding their next biggest bet in the next startup?
It's a great question. So, in general, I think so there are, let's say, on two sides. One is like when the opportunity looks average, like it's really not worth, because you're gonna earn less money, have more stress, and if you're working, I don't know, on some like really like small optimization in a small industry, like a plugin of e-commerce, don't do this, right? It's gonna be it's just going to be pain, and then you're going to get. So I think this is number one, market opportunity. And the second one is founders are real characters. Like I have to say, like you have to find the weird one that is right for you. This is like the other one, but they're gonna have also some traits. Some people might say it's toxic, but it does happen. It's not. But it's the funny thing is you cannot avoid it because it's very intense. So you need extremely intense people to work with. So you basically have to find people that you really get along with, and even if they do things sometimes unfair, it's stuff that you can handle because like, okay, I'm mature, I know it's this way, it's going this, then it comes back to normal. Yeah. But in general, that's like a lot of things, like for example, founders that don't know what to do, for example, they improve over time a lot of times. So yeah, I think this is my 2 cents. Yeah.
I will move on to the next questions. We are seeing some questions popping up, but
Yeah.
before I go further, I just want to take a few minutes to bring the conversation back to product people and just conclude and then go back to the last slide where we can then stay for the rest of the time and take further questions. The use cases at product people that we are covering as interim or fractional support for product manager or product leader are around the permanent position covers, the parental leave covers, or for important and urgent initiatives. We also provide coaching and advisory consultancy around product management and product ops. And we also are product discovery expert and we discover and deliver great things faster. This is the list of our selected B2C clients. Some of the well-known names here are DeepL, eBay, FreeNow, Emma, Eventim, Back Market, and this is some of the B2B clients that we have worked with in the past few years and have provided, discovered and delivered great products for them. Some stats, as I mentioned earlier, we are 40 plus product leaders and product managers. We have 60% of women in our leadership team, and we have so far supported 690 plus cross-functional teams. That makes 130 plus clients from startups to scale-ups to publicly listed companies. And we are back on the slide. You can scan the QR code again or go to Slido and use this code. I will go back to the next question that we have for you, Giuseppe. You mentioned that we should always start for, from ourselves and find our edge or market or technical or catalyst niche. If someone as a product manager is a starting out or is a few years in and they don't feel that they have the strong edge, how do they build one before trying to join the right startup for them?
Right. So I think there are two things. The first is I think everyone has an edge. Like I strongly believe, everyone has like a natural talent that is way better than anyone else in something. Than most people in something. Like at least in a top 10% in something, you're better. Maybe you're better in UX. Maybe you're better in cooking. I don't know. You're better in whatever. There's always either some product manager or some industry that you are like, wow, state of art. Maybe you're good in sales, as a product manager, you're a journalist that can handle stress. So there is always something. And let's say you don't know it yet. Then like what you can do is just join a startup that you like. Like you can find like you can work even I'm saying for free, but like you can even build a little bit of knowledge with helping some projects, do like some hobby project that you like as well. That's a way like you can right now really with AI you can really put up something, you show that try to sell it, show it around, and you can start to build an edge. So I think these are, let's say, I think you have something exceptional, and if you feel like just try to build something and show it to people where you have passion, and this thing will pop up.
I will do a follow-up on this, but now again, bringing it back to you being on the other side of the aisle.
Yeah.
If you were to interview a PM for your startup, let's say, what would be a question that you wish this PM would ask you in the first meeting?
For me is like would he really be try to go in depth and understand, like to really understand what this product is about and how it's solved and what are the alternatives. Like he has to have an exceptional taste, like and really no bullshit, and going to the core. I think so. I would really like that, we have this conversation and he also question it and he goes back and, I think this for me would be, I was like, okay, he's ready to take over. If he's ready for a 0% bullshit and going to the core, then you're welcome on board.
Talking along the lines of the same tangent, I think there's another question that is coming in that says how many failed pivots before a first PM should worry that it's a startup and not them.
Okay, so I don't think it's I mean, so the truth is it's always a combo of the two, like if you ask me, right? So in general, like the market is by far the biggest reason. Like this is way bigger than you. Like if no one likes, you can be the best PM in the world, but if you're in a market and no one cares about, you will not sell. So the market is stronger than you in any case. You have to make peace with it. It's a little bit like nature, right? A wave, can you stop? Is the fault of a wave if it comes, or you? Or the wave just comes. It's the same here. It's a market. You don't choose it. At the same time, you can surf it, right? So if you're good at surfing, it's a. So I think, in general, my gut feeling is, whenever you have an idea, just like try like 2-3 times, like try two-three iteration of this idea, and also go for bold ideas. So don't just optimize. So you go bold idea 1, then build on top a bold idea 2, build on top bold idea 3. If it don't work 3 times, like the combo of you and this market doesn't work, move forward. That's in my experience. And don't be afraid to pivot. It's okay. It's a part of the game.
Talking about bold ideas, personally, now that you have been in this role and in this domain and in this industry for 15 plus years, could you recall a moment where you almost passed an opportunity because on the surface level it looked terrible, but then turned out that it was great, or the other way around?
Let me think. Some like startups I could have joined. I'm thinking. Oh no, it's like a. I've been in final interviews with some. For example, when I was joining Upvest, I could have also joined TaxFix. It was like the two, and I chose Upvest. They both became really good, so I was like, this was the only time I think like TaxFix became an amazing company. So that's like probably the only time. But Upvest also became an amazing company, so it's like at least in this case I was very lucky. Otherwise, I could have probably bite my fingers.
I think we are getting closer to the time. There is another question more on a hypothetical level, which is because of this new era, and this is, of course, what Elena is also echoing and what Lenny is also echoing, that the old playbook does not work anymore because software is cheap and AI products are hard to defend. A lot of us have built our entire careers on the old playbook. Now, a lot of us have pivoted and moved and have adjusted to the new world of AI and the AI software. But if for someone who has been in a traditional organization or have been slow to catch up, what should they unlearn specifically about this old playbook so they can be successful in this new era?
Yeah. I think there will always be space for, also in big organization using AI. I think there will be space. This is like I think it's unavoidable that what will happen is you will need to think, actually, I think more like an early stage product manager. Because I think what will happen is if you have AI, especially AI agents that will be employees, you're basically employees to do things, right? You will give them roles and things to do. You have to become their manager. So you have to become a really good generalist that can jump on many topics, set up things, and you will have the agents going around. So you will have to think less like, okay, it's someone is telling me what to do, or I manage big teams, and more like I'm a manager of agents that will do things, and you will be able to do a lot more. But I think like everyone will have to become entrepreneurial. I'm very convinced of it. It will be a massive challenge, but also a massive opportunity, because it's as a society we can become a lot more productive. I also wish people could get more shares of companies, so they can also, earn more out of it, because then you also have the financial motivation to do it. I also think this eventually will happen, but that's my bet. So become more entrepreneurial for sure, and it's I think it's the only way.
All right, I am checking to see if we have any further questions coming in. Um, there is one question that says, looking back at your journey, what skills had the biggest impact on your success as a startup PM, and which would you prioritize developing first today with all the changes?
I didn't understand the question. Looking back at my day, at my career.
What skills had the biggest impact on
Hmm.
your success as a startup PM, and which one would you prioritize developing first today in the AI first world?
Yeah, actually, I think it's entrepreneurial skills. Um, so basically, it's a couple, which means a couple of things. The first is like you have to be extremely curious, and with your antenna open, like checking opportunities. I think this is like also with a slightly optimistic, actually quite optimistic view. Because if you think about it, there are opportunities everywhere. There are so many companies, so many people you can sell. So I think like you have to have this view, like, oh, there are so many opportunities. I'm so curious, like, so there is a chance, and then you have this hope, and then following this, you have to be very pragmatic and try to do things. I think like, and don't be afraid. And if you don't know how to do it, forgive yourself. Say, okay, that's the first time I do it. The only way is I will have to do it very average the first time. I forgive myself. It's next time I will do it better. And I think if you have these two things, like you have, at least this for me was the like how I learned a lot of these things, and also about testing ideas, etc., came from this approach. And also being frugal. I think this is the third one. Also being frugal, like it's because early stage you don't have money, you don't have, you just have time, your intellect, and you have to figure a puzzle. You have to keep things frugal, but it's a great it's a great exercise.
All right. I think we don't have any further questions, and I think we are also on time. With this, I thank you so much, Giuseppe. I think the crux of this talk is to stay curious, stay generalist, and try things, and don't be too hard on yourself. Pivot if you need to. I will keep this in mind. This is something that is also very close to the principles of product people because of how we work, because we are also jump into different industries and different domains. Sometimes when we don't have the domain specific knowledge, and almost 100% of the times we come out with clear and measurable results because of the craft of product management that can be applied to any industry. So that is something I will take from this session. For anyone still watching, we are hiring. You can scan the QR code on the left side to see the open roles for us. And you can scan the QR code on the right side to subscribe to our newsletter and have direct stories and insights in your inbox. See you next time, same time. We will be here with another talk about what building AI in B2B taught Angad, who is a VP of product at Far Eye. And with that, I thank all of you and see you next week.